Well, as you just heard, most people reacted to Hurricane Irma by worrying about the safety of their homes and their families and by helping each other. It was inspiring. But some, few thankfully, saw it as a prime opportunity for stealing. A news crew captured a group breaking into this Fort Lauderdale shoe store and making off with boxes of expensive shoes. None of them look poor, by the way. Rick Baglioni is police chief of Fort Lauderdale. His department has arrested at least 9 looters so far, and he joins us tonight. Chief, thanks a lot for coming on. So I don't know if you can see the pictures that we're looking at, but there are people looting a shoe store. Did your officers arrest these people?
I can see them, and yes, we did. First, I want to say that City of Fort Lauderdale knows we dodged a big bullet here, and our friends around the state are in a much worse situation than we are, and our goal here is to get back on our feet as quick as we can so I can start sending some resources around the state to help the rest of our friends get back on their feet. I'm proud to say we did arrest those individuals. There were 9 of them caught. In fact, they hit during one of the worst parts of the storm, which you can't really see wind on TV there, but we actually had to deploy our specialty vehicles consisting of a SWAT armored vehicle and a Humvee so we could safely travel to that call and arrest those individuals. And today we just arrested our 20th individual for looting, we're proud to say.
You've heard a lot of people in the media in the past couple of weeks say that really looting isn't looting, it's people in need taking what they need because they don't have it. Is it your sense that these people needed the shoes?
Well, if anybody calls us for help, we're coming and we'll assist any way we can. But if you're going to take advantage of a situation like this, a weather event on this particular occasion, to take advantage of our neighbors and business owners, then we have zero tolerance for that and we're going to arrest you. These folks are not walking out with diapers and cases of water and baby formula. They're stealing tennis shoes.
Yeah, and they all seem to be wearing shoes. So what are they facing at this point?
Well, burglary, depending on how many offenses you are convicted of down here in Florida, can carry different weight. But this particular offense, when it occurs during the declared emergency, comes with more significant penalties. But it also depends on the folks' histories, too.
But there is an extra penalty for taking advantage of a catastrophe to steal.
Absolutely, there is.
Good. There ought to be. Thank you for enforcing the law. Lots of departments aren't, as you know, and so I'm glad to see that you are. Chief, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, for more on the looting and how police can stop it, we're joined by former NYPD officer Dan Bongino. Dan, thanks a lot for coming on. So I'm fascinated not by the looting. I've seen it firsthand. I saw it after Katrina. It always happens. But I'm fascinated by the excuses for it that you're hearing from the left and many in the news media who won't cover this and who basically attack anyone who notes that it's wrong to steal during a time of crisis. Why do you think the left makes excuses for this so aggressively?
Because, Tucker, there's a couple reasons. And yes, I've been a victim of this, too, since my last appearance on your show. Apparently, unbeknownst to me, my family, and anyone who knows me, discussing looting now makes you a racist, which not unusual at all from the left, by the way. Pretty much everything makes you a racist, which has rendered the term nearly meaningless in polite political discourse anymore. But the left does it for a couple reasons. The first one's a really easy one. These are hack, phony frauds who have no lives, their entire livelihood is based off clickbait. So if you put Fox News or conservative commentators' name right away and the word racist, some idiot's going to click on your article. So the intellectually vapid, vacuous vacuums on the left, this is what they do. But the second reason's a little more pernicious for the more intellectual lefties. You know, they have this idea, you know, and Thomas Sowell's done great work on this, you know, in Vision of the Anointed in some of his books, that it's really not the criminal's fault. Tucker, it's society's fault. And if we just organized ourselves a little better, we were a little more socialist and communist, and we were better planners, we wouldn't have this problem. So it's really not the looter's fault. It's the evil business owner's fault for not giving away the sneakers before the storm hit. So it's twofold.
They hate the society, they hate the civilization, and so they're constantly rooting for the people who seek to destroy it. I mean, I don't know how you can't, I don't want to reach that conclusion, but how could you root for, by the way, these are not, I think all of us are sympathetic to the mom without diapers who goes and helps herself to some. I mean, in a moment of crisis, I get it. But these are people driving new cars with gold chains stealing shoes. There's literally no excuse for that. And yet we're not supposed to say anything because it's bad to note it. I mean, if you take that position, you're rooting against our society.
Yeah, and not only that, the convenient out they use by painting everybody with the most disgusting, by the way, outside of child molester and murderer. Is there anything worse to call someone than a racist? By using that, it's their effort to distract away and to constantly, as I always say, the liberals don't run on anything. All they have is making you believe that conservatives hate whatever identity group it is. So by painting everybody as blanket racist, this is what they think is going to work for them. They don't have anything else. But what's really racist is by the way, my last segment with you, Tucker, no one at any point during the interview ever mentioned race because it was irrelevant. We were talking about looters, okay? So if you're in a conversation with people and you're talking about looters and someone comes in and says, hey, I think black people shouldn't loot, then that's kind of the racist, all right? It's not us who are talking about looting. It's the liberals who are the real racists.
Well, race has nothing to do with it.
About it.
Well, yeah, and in fact, the most destructive group in American life right now is Antifa, and they're a bunch of rich white kids. It's got nothing to do with race. It has to do with defending a civilization against people who want to tear it down. And the left, it does seem counterproductive, though, because, I mean, they run every major cultural institution in this country. Why do they root for the destruction of the country that's made them rich? I don't understand.
Well, it's, you know, David Horowitz summed it up nicely when he says, when you understand that the left, the intellectual left, if there is such a thing, that they're the anti-communists, it all makes sense, Tucker. They don't really stand for anything. They just stand against liberty and freedom, us, the anti-communists. And that's what coalesces them all together through their intersectionality or whatever their new buzzword of the day is.
Yeah. Dan, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.